mainframe. Welcome back, guys. So this is part 2 of my RB25 teardown, refresh, basically engine swap. I am dropping my RB25 into my S14, and if you haven't already watched the first installment of this series, feel free. I'll try to leave a link. I'll try to put like a link at the top over here. But yeah, so I have a lot of catching up to do just because I've been working on this and haven't been doing a really good job of filming. So if you watched the last video, I went ahead and tore everything down to the long block and prepared the entire motor to be cleaned, prepped. A lot of this stuff I am replacing, like the intake. I'm going top mount, manifold with a bigger turbo, and all that stuff has come in. I've actually, if you can see the block behind me, I've actually taken it all off just so I can record this video. So that's how bad I've been at, keeping you guys updated. So on this video, I'll be showing you guys some of the progress as far as oil pump, water pump, and the whole front part of the block being completely stripped down and cleaned. Once it was stripped down to the long block, I noticed the block wasn't horrible. There wasn't a bunch of oil caked on it, but after, I don't know, 15, 20 plus years, the block will obviously get pretty dirty. And then of course the motor itself, the motor set sitting, in storage or at the actual place that I purchased, which was Foreign Engines local to me. So when it's sitting there for a while, of course it's gonna get kind of dirty. Clean the block, just use a bunch of degreaser and hand wiped everything down with some wire brush. Came out pretty nice, and I also gave it a fresh coat of paint. I was gonna go that satin black paint, but 2 reasons I didn't is 1, I didn't have any, and I didn't feel like going to the store. Used what I had, which was a cast iron. I went ahead and moved to the front of the motor where you will find the water pump and the oil pump. So with the water pump, I took it, I wanted to take all this off just because while the motor's out, I wanted to make sure preventative maintenance was all done. So if I could reseal it and re-gasket it and also inspect both of the pumps, make sure that they are in good working condition, it kind of gives you a peace of mind you know, as far as dropping a motor in and not having to take it out again for something as little as, you know, a water pump and an oil pump. It's not a lot of fun having to do that while it's in the car. So when looking at the water pump, there was, you know, no cracks, no underlying issues visually, but most important, spinning the actual rotating assembly where the actual pump works, make sure there's no shaft play, and of course with that I went ahead and I re-gasketed it with the Nissan OEM sealant, which came in the kit that I have for the RB. It was like a full-on gasket kit. On the oil pump, usually a lot of people will replace these, but since I have the Neo, the nice thing is the Neo has the N1 pump, so the upgraded version beyond like a Nitto or one of like the billet wheel type oil pumps, the N1 is usually the second gen. And mine, I want it to be below, you know, 500, probably around 400 horsepower, which I think it'll be sufficient for that amount of horsepower. So I kept that. I did go ahead and clean it up, and I also re-gasketed that, which comes with an OEM like paper gasket. As far as the water pump and oil pump, same thing. I went ahead after cleaning it, made sure to paint it, which, you know, obviously it looks a lot nicer once everything's all dolled up and clean. So I painted it. I didn't have any of the aluminum color that I normally would paint that, so I went ahead and just painted with that cast iron paint that I had for the block. So while the oil pump and water pump were drying from paint, I went ahead and also cleaned the whole front mating surface. So it's important when you're doing, you know, a reseal or regasket that you have a completely clean surface, or else you could, you know, create leaks in the future. So I went ahead and used a razor blade to remove all the old rubber gasket on the water pump, and then also used, I think on the oil pump, since it uses a paper gasket, I went ahead and used a wire brush to make sure that was fully clean as well. Alright, so you guys are all caught up. I've been waiting for this video to actually make this video just because I've been getting so ahead of myself. I actually, like I mentioned earlier, had to take off some of the things off the motor for this video so you guys didn't see everything that I've actually received in the mail for it. This is legitimately with the turbo manifold that I have, with my turbo, with my intake, the actual intake manifold and fuel rail. I pretty much have 90% of everything I need to, as far as motor wise, to drop in. So I'm super close. We still have a long way to go, which I want to make sure you guys are along for the ride on that. So I apologize for the 2-3 week time frame between my last video and this one. Like I mentioned, I do already have 2 videos after this that I was legitimately gonna just kind of rush through this stuff. That's why I only got, like, you know, little clips here and there and not even explaining anything. But I decided I wanted to do my due diligence and, you know, including you guys in this build. If you like this video, feel free to hit that like button. It does help me out. And if you want to see the future content that's coming out, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon just so that way you're notified when something does come out. So this is a little different setup how I'm used to. Usually I'm holding the camera, but like I mentioned, I have a bunch of clips that I just kind of compacted into this video and just doing some commentary to explain everything. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.